Presented by BlizzPro.com, your host, Balrog fan, Zexorus, and DJ Tyrant. Welcome everyone to the Heroes Power Hour. This is episode 113 here on August 8th, 2017. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are a Heroes of the Storm podcast brought to you by BlizzPro.com. I'm your host, DJ Tyrant. With me is the a little bit lighter crew than normal, but we have Balrog fan BP. How are you doing, my friend? How's your week been in games? What you been up to?
Pretty good. Gaming wise, I didn't play too much. We played pre-show games and that was fun. I'm liking messing around with Stukov. I think I'm going to continue to mess with him, but Lucio feels very strong right now as well, so I might just go back to Lucio. I don't know. It's a tough call.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more about Stukov later, but yeah, he's one of those heroes that I know we talked about this a lot in our Facebook group, where the skill cap feels kind of really high on him, and players still just haven't really found his niche necessarily. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Zexorus, how are you doing, my friend? How is your week been in games? What you been up to?
Well, I kind of waited until Garrosh came out, and I was playing around with him tonight, and he's fun. I like him. He's beefy. He's everything I want in a warrior. Didn't really get it. It's been a busy week for me outside, so I haven't all I've really gotten to do is play Splatoon 2, because those games are quick and I can just walk away once I get sufficiently tilted.
Yeah, I actually got that yesterday. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I'll have to add you.
Yes, please, God, I need more people to play with that aren't OCD.
Yeah.
Charlie, I'd like to know, your head looks a little lighter, buddy. Did you go get a haircut?
I did.
It looks good. You're a very attractive man.
Thanks.
Welcome to the Tinder Power Hour.
Right?
No, it's not. No, not the Tinder Power Hour.
Oh,
it's the
Grindr
Grindr Power Hour. Let's get it right.
Does that mean I have to put a NSFW tag on this for iTunes?
I think so.
Okay, well,
maybe.
Whatever. Anyways, my week in games has been pretty limited. I've been really busy, again with my new job, so I haven't been able to play as much as I would like. But yeah, the games earlier tonight were a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed playing a couple different warriors. But yeah, that's kind of it for the week in gaming. The patch did go live today, so we do, as Extras talked about, Garrosh being live, which is exciting for everyone, I'm sure. He looks really fun. Zex didn't let me play him yet, so I'm sure after the show I'll get some games in on him. But the big news that we didn't see coming from the PTR is that Hanamura is kind of having a Haunted Mines done to it. It's being taken away from all the modes of the game. You cannot queue into it in any sort of setting, including quick match. But I mean, if you want to, I'm sure you can make a custom game on it and have some fun and reminisce about the this battleground. But yeah, the big thing was Hanamura, I think, getting taken out of the matchmaking pool for all modes. And I'm really curious what you guys' thoughts on this, why this is happening to another battleground in Heroes of the Storm. We had this happen with Haunted Mines, like I mentioned earlier, but why? Let's start with this question. Why is this map not good for Heroes of the Storm?
Go ahead.
I'd like to preface this with God bless the map dev team. This was by far and away probably the worst map to play Heroes on. I like the concept of pushing payloads and stuff like that, and I give them credit for trying something just brand new in terms of objective wins, but the map was just so unfun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love what they did with the camps being completely different from your traditional merc camps, but everything was just like, it felt like a chore. You know, even Garden of Terror, as much as we complain about Garden, like Garden, at least you feel somewhat accomplished when you achieve objectives and stuff like that. Like Hanamura was just an unfun grind. Like you just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and like just one person could just stall long enough, and then you eat 2 shots because the other team was able to push quicker, push their objectives quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thoughts on it. I'm just glad it's gone at this point.
The main problem with it to me was the same problem that Haunted Mines had. It suffered from a very bad snowball effect, and it felt especially bad in quick match these days. At least back when Haunted Mines was a problem, way back when, the hero pool wasn't as diverse. Like right now, there's just too many things that can go wrong in a quick match comp where you can just be, or even in a draft, just like unranked draft, you can be totally behind the 8 ball because, you know, they got Asmodan and you don't have the right counter for it. Things like that. The map was just too easy to break, and stall tactics, snowball, all those things just made it an unfun, unplayable experience, and I'm very glad it's gone because and like every time it would come up, like it would be either my first game going to Hanamura, great, or like it would be like the 3rd game and I'd just be like, okay, I don't want to play this game anymore because Hanamura makes me mad.
Yeah, every time when it was in the rotation for ranked, every time it came up when I was playing Team League, it was just like, it was, I was the drafter and shot caller for the team I was playing with, and it was just, it gave me nightmares because I was like, well, they're going to pick Asmodan, and do I really want to ban Asmodan and give up something else like a Genji or something like that? And it makes it really hard to draft with how kind of weird the battleground is. And I feel like even at the Heroes 2.0 event where a bunch of content creators got to play the battleground, even then there was kind of talk on like, is this even going to be a good map for competitive heroes? So yeah, it was interesting. I do commend them for taking it out of the rotation. I can't imagine how hard that was, or how crushing a little bit it was for the designers who worked on this. And it's like, oh well, now we get to redo it and fix all the issues that are apparent on it now.
Right.
But I do commend them for doing that.
Because everybody likes the concept, everybody likes the idea, everybody likes the way it looks, but yeah, no, something's wrong.
Yeah, and I did like that they did try to fix it with some kind of hot fixes. We saw I forget what they changed. I guess it really doesn't matter at this point.
The core health was increased by one, yeah. And they dropped the sapper spawning after a keep fell.
Yeah. But not enough to fix it.
I think they might have got lucky and captured lightning in a bottle with Towers of Doom, like a map where you don't actually have to push through a fort and a keep to get to the core. I think a concept like that, though, is going to be very hard to replicate. For a lot of reasons.
Because the thing about that battleground is, I don't have any actual data for this, but I feel like it is the battleground that I have come back the most on. Or we're down like 20 shots to 10 or something like that. Or even like further of a gap than that. And we just are able to come back. I don't know if
Towers of Doom.
Towers of Doom. Towers of Doom is what I'm talking about. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have kind of seen that on your games on Towers, but that's what I've felt like.
It happened with me and you a couple of weeks ago when you and I were playing. Yeah, we were like down to our last shot and we ended up coming back in a ridiculous fashion. Like, but those kinds of wins make me feel like filthy. Like,
well, it depends on how you get them. I feel like Towers of Doom is one of those maps where the team fights really start deciding stuff late, and if your team scales better into the late game, you're going to have an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Because
that is true.
You win a team fight, you get the towers. You win a team fight, and you keep getting towers. If you were down like 8 shots early, and all of a sudden you started taking tons of towers at after post 10, that's pretty telling about your comp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was also a very late game in that particular case. I don't. They just started feeding for some reason. It was just the weirdest stuff.
Another thing I wanted to point out is they actually changed Dragon Knight. It went live with Stukov. So Dragon Knight has been changed for a while now, but we didn't know. But basically, it's a better Dragon Knight. It does more damage to minions. The Flame Breath DOT is cut in half, but it still does the same amount of damage. Like just the time it takes for it to tick. The base damage on Flame Breath got increased. There's no more delay on your charge for W, and that damage got increased from 300 to 450. They adjusted the weapon swing, so it's more responsive. Just a ton of stuff to make the dragon feel more imposing, which when we played recently, I thought like the dragon felt stronger, but I was just like,
you were right. In some of the other minor UI changes, we saw this in the games we were playing earlier, but there's armor indicators now against hero health bars, and I feel like that really helps a ton.
That's important with Garrosh.
With Garrosh, I saw it all the time. Yeah. Of course, because of his trait. The other cool thing was the cursor cooldown notifications. I don't know if you guys noticed that at all while you were playing, but if you hit an ability and it's on cooldown, wherever your cursor is, there's a little box that comes up with the cooldown left on that ability. It's actually really nice to kind of have that in a better visual area for you to see. And then obviously the in-game chat improvements, being able to move it around and all that is kind of nice. Any other thoughts on this patch? I know we kind of rushed through a lot of this. We talked a lot about the hero changes last week, so if you want to check out episode 112, here are our thoughts on those.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to discuss. I mean, Butcher is as good as I thought he was. I'll say that. I can already see that, but he's as good as I thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, them baselining Avatar was just ridiculous. Like you can still kite him, like real easily, but if you can get them 8 kills in a hurry, it goes downhill for the other team real quick.
You don't have to get kills. This isn't like Novas. This is just kill participation.
Well, yeah. True.
That's key, because just being around 8 kills, you can be done building Butcher, 4 minutes into the map if it's a derp fest. So, decent, teams see that completion coming later, but he gets a lot more per kill, and it's very relevant.
Yeah. Watching you play Butcher earlier, Zex, you were tearing people up, man.
That last game was rough, though. That last game was definitely rough.
That's the nature of quick match, though. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but it was interesting to see the effects of the changes to quick match queuing live now. I think our first match took like 8 minutes to find a match.
Yeah.
After all is said and done, because now quick match prefers not to make mirror matches. So Zex was on Garrosh, so obviously that's going to add a bunch of time when you have a new hero on your side and you're not a full team. But it ended up giving us a mirror of Chromie in the end, so it still ended up doing that. But
it's still broken.
Hopefully, well, it says it prefers. It's not going to be perfect every time.
It felt the cues felt a lot better shortly after our first game too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Bacon needs to learn not to throw me as I'm charging. Like the nice thing about that I noticed was if he did interrupt it, by throwing me, which is weird because I thought Butcher was unstoppable during that. So you think he wouldn't be able to be interrupted during that, but I digress.
Throw cancels out unstoppable. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
That doesn't sound right.
Well,
We'll
I can't.
have to
Well,
check
see,
it out.
I can't remember if Butcher is unstoppable while he's charging.
Huh.
So, that said, you made me lose my train of thought. I completely
Bacon
lost
was
it.
tossing you.
Oh, so if you get tossed mid-charge, charge doesn't go on cooldown. So if you're going on the wrong target and Garrosh chucks you, you get your charge back, and you
Is
go on
there-
a different target.
Is there like a little bit of a cooldown, like a half second for it to come back, or is it
No,
just
it's
instant?
immediate.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought
Wait.
that was pretty neat.
That's so weird.
That is really weird.
Does he? Is it part of his ability that it affects your cooldowns?
No,
That doesn't sound right. If that was happening, it's got to be a bug.
I'd like to think of it as working as intended.
Speaking of working as intended, we had the Western Clash this last weekend, and surprise, surprise, Fanatics just kind of sweeps their way through everything. Did they drop a game?
No. Nope, they won every single game.
Okay, yeah, they didn't drop a single game on their way to winning the Western Clash. Oh boy, I mean, not to take anything away from Fanatics when they very much earned it and have not really dropped a beat since the mid-season brawl, but this was a unfun tournament to watch. I feel like, I mean, we'll talk about NA in just a minute, but just it's like I kind of think of it like the NBA Finals this year. It was, you already knew who was gonna win, so it wasn't that enjoyable to watch, unless you're like a huge fan of Fnatic, I guess. Because I mean, they just look completely in a different class from everyone else.
Yeah.
I had the storyline at Team Expert going, and I really was glad that they were so successful in this tournament outside of, not being able to beat Fnatic, which no one could, so who cares? But
The Koreans can't at this point, so I can't fault Expert for that.
right, Expert looked great though. They handled business against Gale Force, and they came back and just bopped Liquid when they had to. So they did everything they were supposed to, and that was the only cool part for me, really. I mean, I think Fnatic's dominance is somewhat cool to watch, but not. I mean, we're going into what, like 5 months of Fnatic dominance now.
Yeah.
Pretty much since March they flipped the switch and just haven't looked back. And
Yeah, this meta is like just benefiting them so hard right now because you see certain teams rise and fall as the meta shifts in most MOBAs, and this Fnatic just has this game figured out right now. Like nobody's even remotely close to how they're playing, and they proved, at least in the West, then they just outright proved that.
But they won mid-season brawl. I think
Yeah.
they're easily
They dropped
won
Matt.
the world.
Yeah. Oh God, yes, head and shoulders. But we won't see that unless somebody out of the Eastern Clash has a dominant performance as well.
Mm-hmm. And the unfortunate thing is we won't actually even see that happen until BlizzCon, which is still September, October, November, 3 months away.
Correct.
So who knows? Because the landscape could be different at that point. You never know with some of these patch changes, but yeah, the Fnatic storyline, it's an interesting storyline, and I think it's kind of nice that EU is dominant. right now, just in the global scene of heroes. But let's talk about everyone's favorite thing, North America. Another international tournament, 0 wins, 0 series wins against anyone outside of minor regions.
Yep.
It's embarrassing at this point. Like,
Gale Force got a win on Expert, by the way. I will say that.
Oh boy.
They took him out. Yeah.
They did take one game.
Wow. And let's talk about our favorite, Team Freedom.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about the Freedom E Liquid series
That
with
was
the most boneheaded call in history.
That
like,
was
there's-
really just
Bad.
for
Like, it was
people who
crap.
didn't see it. Let's let Jemmy walk people through the play.
Yeah, so this is on remind me of the battleground. I can't think of the name. War Junction. There we
Yep.
go. See, I just had to talk it out. War Junction, Game 5. This is who decides the series, who moves on to the next round of the lower bracket. Both teams are kind of drafted around really push. They're just focused on pushing. And then all of a sudden they just decide, what was it, like 7-8 minutes into the game, I think?
I feel like it was between
super
the 6
early.
and 8 minute mark for
I
sure.
think both teams were like maybe level 10, 11, maybe even 12, but they both go for the bosses on the opposite sides of the map. And it looks pretty clear, I think, as an observer of this game, that Team Liquid has the advantage. Both just in pushing power and the amount of lane pressure that they already have. But Freedom decides to race them. And granted, it did come down to only 25%, but I feel like Freedom really should have realized that they needed to back and defend against that and extend the game further and give themselves a better shot at that instead of just going all in. And I feel like we see this time and time again in international play with North American teams, where they go for these really awkward pushes to try to end the game really early on, and it just doesn't work out for them.
It's one thing too if it's Fnatic. Like if you're in a 5-game set and you've got a coin flip push, you feel like that might be slightly in their favor, but it might go your way, and you just want to take it there because you think you can't beat them in skill, and you're already, in a deadlock series with Fnatic, and you just want to get by them. Sure. But this was Team Liquid. Like, even if you got through on some jank trying to race them on a push that probably wasn't going to go your favor, you still had to go through Gale Force and Expert later. So extend the game, extend the series, do what you can to give yourself a fighting chance. Don't make these jank calls that just are like desperation just to move on. It doesn't work.
This was an abject failure on Team Freedom's part. Like, there was literally no excuse for them to try to base race. You noted that it came down to 25%. You know how much damage that is? That's one nuke.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about the nuke situation.
Yeah, so what was going on during this play is they were both grabbing boss. Brightwing backs off, grabs the third nuke near them, just as both teams grab their bosses at the same time and begin the push. Now, at this point, you see there's no way anyone on Team Freedom didn't see the amount of nukes they had. It's impossible. I refuse to believe, because you see that boss get picked up, you hear the ding of the boss getting picked up, and your eyes should automatically go to that mini-map. And what's below the mini-map? How many nukes they have. They should have seen.
Was it 3-1 on the nukes?
It was 3-2.
3-2.
They had enough nukes to at least force them back off that boss. Yes, they would have taken core damage, but the game would have continued. But no, instead they thought they could outpush a boss
who had more nukes behind it.
Exactly. They had Liquid burned 2 nukes on their keep as their boss was pushing, and burned the last one to kill the shield of the core on Team Freedom. And Team Freedom had to burn through everything else. It was just absolutely just the most boneheaded thing I've ever seen. When I was watching the play go down, I'm like, Freedom lost. They can't outpush Team Liquid. This isn't going to happen. This is done. Like, good game Liquid, I guess, for having Brightwing pick up an extra nuke. Like, it was one of the most embarrassing plays to watch. And then the rest of NA just kind of crapped the bed while we were at it. I mean, NA's I don't know what NA needs to do to get better at this point, because it's pretty evident that NA is OS region is catching up to us.
Yeah.
Like, Nomia pushed NA pretty hard.
They pushed Freedom to a third game in that best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on. Like, how...
So I want to say one thing really quickly about just the series as a whole of between Team Liquid and Team Freedom. Like, the thing is, we got so baited because Game 3 was on Cursed Hollow, and that's a really big EU map. That's a really big Team Liquid map. Team Liquid specifically went for Lost Vikings, put Hasselhoffs on them, and Freedom just completely outplayed them on that. I'm like, all right, they can win this series now. And then the Game 4 on Towers of Doom, that was close as well. I was like, okay, they can still win this series. And then that's what was so frustrating about that game on Game 5.
I complain about Team Freedom, but they played out of their minds that series, and they blew it all on that ignorant call to base race.
Yeah, it was one bum call that set back a lot. It felt like it set back a lot of progress that Team Freedom was making as the saviors of NA.
Yeah,
especially when it happens in a clash against an EU team that looks pretty weak right now.
Like, but it's still Liquid. They're still a strong team. They're no slouches by any means. You know, I mean, this was a team that went phase 1 pretty much undefeated the first half and almost through the second half.
Yeah.
You know, and then they kind of coughed it up at LAN events. But, like, Team Liquid is the shakiest EU team right now. But
and I think that's evident by them getting 3-0'd by both Expert and Fnatic.
Expert's playing out of their minds right now.
Yeah, Expert's really good.
It was really fun to watch Expert play the way they did. And, like, they got 3-0'd, but those were competitive games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Fnatic had to get serious to win Western Clash from Expert. Expert brought their game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just, Fnatic is just on an entirely different level right now. It's just amazing how hard Expert is catching up with the top teams. And, like, everyone's like, they proved themselves. They proved that, like, there was a whole bunch of drama going around about how Expert made it into Clash, and which ended up shutting Dignitas out.
Yeah.
And I think Expert more than proved themselves that they deserved to be there.
Yeah,
well, to be fair, there were 4 teams at 4 and 3 overall. Expert, Liquid, Dig, and Tricked.
Yeah, people can complain about that all they want. Expert had the better tiebreakers. That's just how leagues work.
Expert had the better tiebreakers. They had the better game record at 16 and 11. Same with Liquid.
Yeah, anybody who's complaining about Digny not being there should direct that directly at Dignitas, because I mean, that was on
the direct reason why the Dignitas didn't go.
Yeah.
Win another map, win another game. You know, don't drop a series against Tricked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, this was just a frustrating clash.
Yeah, it was.
If you're an NA fan,
but
if you're
I hate
you, I'm sure it was
So
I hate Freedom with a burning fury now. Like that's twice I've started cheering for Freedom against my better judgment, and both times I've been burned. So I hope they go 0-5 the next half. I hope.
Oh my goodness.
I hope they all sprain their wrists.
Oh my goodness. That's
I don't
terrible.
want them
That
to
is
break
terrible.
anything because that's malicious. I just
Wish
want
it-
them. I want them to sprain the. You
I'll
know
say-
that this
I'm
knuckle right here. This knuckle right here. I want them to sprain those knuckles so like every time they try to press a button, they're reminded of the pain of NA fans.
Okay. As far as NA overall, though, I know we talked about this in our group chat. I know, Willie, you talked about this a ton. What do you think would have happened? Would the result have been any different had other teams from NA made it in?
I really think. Okay, I raised the point of No Tomorrow and Roll20 going in the place of Freedom and
Tempo.
Storm. Okay, and Tempo Storm just craps the bed every time they get to a land. Tell me I'm wrong.
They're really not doing anything to shake that line of questioning.
they underperform so hard at lands. It makes it. No, I'm not going to go that route. I'm not gonna go.
Oh my goodness.
They're bad at lands. They're great online. They're terrible at lands.
Yeah.
Don't-
It's tough.
We-
You don't want
we-
to keep seeing them go there and then get 2-0'd, you know?
Yeah, and I've obviously expressed my issues with Freedom. So Roll20, if Roll20 would have stomped Liquid, I don't think it would have been close. I think it would have been a 3-0 for Roll20 if they got past Nomia, because Nomia just has Roll20's number. Like
Yeah.
Roll20 just plays really badly against Nomia every time they come across. But Arcaner's leaving Nomia. He's moving to England, I think. So, I mean, maybe Nomia kind of falls a few spots at this point in the Aus region. But
The problem
mean,
is no one really
like-
contests them in Australia.
and I think No Tomorrow would have ended up having a really strong showing, just because Equinox is such a solidifying presence.
You got to win more than 4 games, though, man. That's all there is to it. Four wins ain't getting you to the Clash.
That's true. I don't dispute that. But maybe because I thought for sure No Tomorrow was going to make it to Clash, and then they coughed up that win against Even in Death.
Yeah.
And that like just kind of screwed the pooch for him entirely for making it there. But I think Roll20 and No Tomorrow are definitely going to BlizzCon. I'll call it right now. I think Tempo Storm kind of falters and drops more games. I think.
Where's the bottom falling out on Freedom, though? I mean, they still looked very strong the entire time. They had one very bad, probably the worst call of HGC, but still.
That's a call like that. You lose sleep over a call like that.
That's fine and good, but I ain't gonna sit here and say yeah. Team Freedom's definitely Garbo now.
They're gonna go loose in Eventic now.
This no, they won't.
My point.
Okay. I've been saying they've been Garbo for a while, so this isn't really anything different out for me. Like I've been thoroughly confused as to why they've been playing so well, because they've been playing more aggressive, but they haven't been playing differently to me.
They've gotten better at playing their matchups because they've gotten better at teching against the teams they're playing. That's why they're doing well in North America, and their roster change helped a lot too.
That's right. They brought in Cure.
Yeah.
But doesn't Cure have some baggage with him?
Yeah,
I've
heard he's hard to play with.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's
that's
kind of
what-
like
that's
Equinox, though.
What his thing was is he needed to be in control of a team, and what Team Freedom needed was somebody in control because they looked like they never had any direction in Phase 1.
So we can
Now they come out. Now they come out like a frickin' wrecking ball against every team they faced, and they're at least in fights all the time. You know, like you can never count them out of a series anymore.
It's funny that you say Wrecking Ball because I like Team Freedom about as much as I like Miley Cyrus's music.
Oh man.
Okay. You're.
I'm a hater.
This is just all based on nonsense, and I don't think there's anything here.
But yeah, congrats Fnatic for winning Western Clash, and
Yes.
we're really happy to see Expert make a really solid run through a
Benny, come
major
back to
tournament.
the show.
Yeah, Benny, if you want to come back, you can come.
We
talk
need
with
to
us
ask
more.
you about horses. Did you see his Twitter? He actually posted the pictures with him and horses.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
It's hilarious. I think he actually owns horses, so that's something that we're gonna have to touch if we're able to secure another interview with him, because that GIF they played, that little image they played that one day of Betty and horses was just too much. So yeah, I think we can move on. I've gotten out of my system.
There you go. But yeah, we are going to start actually a kind of new segment, or a little bit of a variation on a segment we've done from time to time about builds with heroes, and I really like what Charlie has decided to do here. We have Garrosh out. We're not going to be talking about Garrosh. We're going to talk about the most recently released hero, which is Stukov. And as a support player, we have a lot of thoughts on him, but it's going to be more of a discussion than just him laying out the build. So we're going to talk about all the talents, what's looks good on him, and how to play him out, especially with this new kit or changes since the most recent patch.
Definitely. Yeah, my idea was every time a new hero comes out, we basically try to guess at what the new hero is going to do and how they're going to affect the meta, and we might theory craft a build. All that stuff, sometimes we've gotten it right, but most of the time we're off on certain things because a hero evolves and changes and doesn't really find its place in the meta for at least a month or so, sometimes longer. Usually right around hero release day, so I figure let's talk some Stukov. I personally think the changes they made to him were warranted back on July, when was that? July 26th. There was a balance patch in which they changed the way his trait functions. So when you, and if you can't tell, I'm buying time for a tab to load, so that's why I'm just kind of elongating words while something loads forever. Pretty good at it. Apparently it doesn't want to load, so that's cool. Anyways, they changed the way that bio kill switch works, basically, where it used to just refresh all the healing dots. Now it sets the duration to 3 seconds left. So you have to account for the way you're healing now, and it should be approached differently. They also changed the requirements for hitting heroes on Fed at Touch and made that a lot quicker. Those are the two I remember off the top of my head. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's timing out every time I try to open up these patch notes, so that's cool. Anyways, I'd say Fed at Touch. Can you bring that? Or is it bombing out for you too?
Okay, it looks like it's bombing out for me as well.
All right, cool. Oh, nope, there it goes all of a sudden for no reason. Sweet. All right, so yes. Anyways, when they made changes to him recently, they upped the mana cost on his healing pathogen, and they put the pushback distance on his R, which really isn't important for flailing swipe because it's still not really a talent you're taking. Basically, they lowered the requirements on Fetid Touch, and they changed Growing Infestation, so it increases the cooldown on Lurking Arm by 4 seconds, which made that a lot less usable at one. It kind of made Fetid Touch more of a go-to talent because the reward on it's so good.
Because Growing Infestation was kind of the go-to talent, I felt like, because there was no real drawback for it. You just got the expanding lurking arms, so you got a better pool, a larger pool of being able to silence your enemies and help. Honestly, it helps out clear lanes as well. So
Yeah.
it was a necessary change. As bummed as I am that it got changed, it was definitely needed.
So the other major change, and yeah, I'm with you there. And the 4-second cooldown feels oppressive, so I'm a lot more fond of Fetid Touch. It gives him a lot of utility. It's one of the things that makes his skill cap a little higher, just because you have to be. He's one of the few support heroes where constantly hitting your skill shots is kind of important, and that's not something that comes up on healing classes too often. So if you're used to just playing a straight healer, this might be a bit of an adjustment for you, like it is for me right now. The other major change was at level 4. They changed vigorous reuptake, so the bonus goes to 40%. Not as great anymore, mainly because they changed one good spread. So it used to require 4 heroes, and when it spread to 4 heroes, you'd be refunded 30 mana, which was the full cost at the time. They changed it so it still refunds the full cost because they upped the cost of healing pathogen, but they also made the requirement only 3 heroes, which is a lot easier to attain, and it can really ramp up his healing numbers. So I feel like Vigorous Reuptake, which was the early favorite, has also fallen out of favor and for one good spread because of those changes.
Yeah, and I mean, the game you were playing with us earlier, you hit like 70k healing, no problem. It seemed like it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, very early. It's pretty easy. If you're in a group of like 2 or 3 people.
Now, could you ever see yourself taking top off here?
Healing pathogen, is that the one where their heal over time is increased?
Yeah, as long as they're above 60% health.
Not really, because the new functionality on the level 16 where it resets the duration to 3 seconds rather than it sets the duration to 3 seconds rather than a full refresh, kind of makes you have to focus your first Q on the lowest health target. Because you want the lowest health target to get the most value out of Pox Populi. How do you say that? Populi?
Pox Populi.
Pox Populi.
Populi, okay. That was the other change, though. Basically, it doesn't just refresh into a full heal. It sets the duration at 3 seconds. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. Like, the person who gets the healing first is going to get the most benefit, because if you wait till it's at a 1 second duration and then refresh them back up to 3 seconds, they obviously get more heals. They get the big bursts, things like that. So I would have a hard time really thinking that you would want to take that other level 4 that you were speaking about, Jimmy. Level 7, I'm so torn here. There are 3 really good talents at 7. What do you usually take, honestly, Jimmy?
It depends on what. This is like the talent tier that's really flexible. Like, it's really going to depend on what's going on in the match. And if I'm playing against a hammer, and Zex gets credit for this, for pointing this out, but taking within my reach against a hammer lets you, I think, land it out of range of hammers attacks, which is really nice.
Well, I don't even take it for that. I take within my reach a lot, just because it allows me to play a lot safer as Stukov. It's nice to be able to have that range. You're not doing it for max ranging combos or anything. You're doing it to keep your body safe because of the lack of mobility that you ultimately have as Stukov.
I almost feel like, though, if you're picking Fetid Touch at 1, you almost want to take Long Pitch or even It Hungers, just because the range, you can either get the range higher or reduce the cooldown on Lurking Arm.
Yeah, I don't like the It Hungers. I think the other talent of is Targeted Excision here, because when you detonate just the one
Bioswitch.
Yeah, it resets your cooldown to just 5 seconds on Bioswitch, which when you master that, it's very helpful. The problem is it doesn't provide the safety that Within My Reach does. The long pitch, I did really like it for completing the quest, but I think the strength of it is kind of not really valuable compared to the strength of Within My Reach and Targeted Excision.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a hard time deciding between those two, though.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that when Blizzard puts heroes together like this, where you're really having to think on talent tiers, what am I going to take? Because it's going to require you assessing the situation on the battlefield and figuring out what's going to be best for you and your team. Now, I heard you say at level 10, you think just Massive Shove no matter what. I think there's an argument for Flailing Swipe.
I would agree if you didn't get the armor and Massive Shove's cooldown wasn't 20 seconds.
Okay.
I think over the course, I think over the course of HGC, I saw Flailing Swipe taken more than Massive Shove.
I think Flailing Swipe is really good.
I feel like it lets you get out of a lot of BS situations.
Yeah, it and that's why I think it's better overall disengage than Shove.
Definitely.
Shove is amazing for dispositioning someone.
I
feel like Shove will be good.
Or I don't know, getting your butcher killed. Because you shoved his mark target away.
Oh my goodness.
That was unfortunate, but you see the thought process. That's why I like Shove. I like turning a 5v5 into a 4v5. Yeah. That's why I like Shove, you know?
And to think, you yelled at me about shoving the first time I played him.
I feel
You were derp shoving, though. You were being a jerk, and you knew you were trying. You were trying to go behind people on long rotations that were going to get you killed just to shove something.
I still think Shove it has its spot, and I think it'll really shine through and like really coordinated teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I just haven't seen that much. I don't know. I just like Flailing Swipe just because you can get out of situations you probably shouldn't have. And I think you can use it to really secure objectives as well if you position it just right. Say someone's channeling Dragon Knight, you just Flailing Swipe people away.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not... Your case for Flailing... I can't say there's anything bad about Flailing Swipe. It's a great ultimate. I prefer the lower cooldown on Massive Shove and the armor. I like the armor and the fact that you can change a team fight.
Yeah, and I think that's just different playstyles. And that's kind of nice that we do have a hero who's both heroics. We can argue for both of them, the positives.
Yeah, it's nice. It's always the goal. You don't want one heroic clearly better than the other, and I can't say that Massive Shove is clearly better than Flailing Swipe, just as I feel most people can't say Flailing Swipe is clearly better than Massive Shove.
You can say "How now, brown cow," but you can't say Flailing Swipe.
I don't. I trip over my words sometimes for no reason.
Yeah. What are you taking at 13 though?
I've been lately experimenting with Lingering Spines, but I've been missing Reactive Ballista Spores, so I think I'm going to be going back to Reactive Ballista Spores. I like the idea of Lingering Spine that you can, like, in a team fight, you can toss it out real quick and feel like you're sitting there channeling it, but you're actually running around and also, spreading out your heals or trying to hit your Ws. It gives you that flexibility. And it's nice, but Reactive Ballista Spores is very good. If you're never being focused, I think Lingering Spines is probably a better. But if the enemy team at any point is trying to go for you, Reactive Ballista Spores is going to be better, even if it only wins you one team fight.
Yeah, I almost think it doesn't necessarily require, but I think its value increases against teams that have heavy melee on them, like double warrior compositions and stuff like that, because then you're getting that slow onto them, and it's really good to kind of counter engage. It makes it, especially is a big power swing at 13 and really makes the opposing team have to really consider, because they're kind of pot committed at that point when they're getting slowed down.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that it resets the cooldown on bio kill switch, so it gives you a chance to amp up a big heal and weighted pustule kind of thing. You miss it. You definitely miss it.
Yeah, and I feel like the changes to growing infestation really hurt the rest of the talents on this tier.
Oh yeah,
because you're not taking that anymore, and now you're like, I don't really want to put talents in the lurking arm.
Like I said, the only real thing I can say about spines is just that, yeah, it gives you that flexibility to move after, but I don't think that it warrants, the benefit is warranted enough. Generally, you're either going to get a good E or you're not. It's either going to shut them down or it isn't, and you having to channel it a little bit longer as opposed to just being able to cancel it and let it stay for that 1.5, the difference in it isn't huge.
Yeah. No, I agree. And 16, we already talked about Pox Populi, but Universal Carrier is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it hurts his overall healing, though.
Mm-hmm.
It gives. I look at it. I look at Universal Carrier as not so much a healing talent as it is a regen talent, as long as everyone sticks around, and that pathogen can bounce back and forth, because that's like 30 HP a second. As that at that point, that a healing pustule will give a player. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the map. I would say certain maps where you're going to be you're going to be united as a team fairly early and for most of the map. Something like what is it? It's the shrines, Infernal Shrines. I could see it maybe working there. Maybe Braxis holdout. I don't know. It hurts his numbers overall, though.
Yeah.
Unless you're constantly together, it's gonna hurt his numbers, and you're never gonna be able to like save somebody with you will be able to save people sometimes, I guess, but your effectiveness as a healer goes down when you put the onus of how your heals are going to be dispersed on other people.
Yeah. For your storm talent though, what are you taking? Are you taking Bio Explosion Switch? Yeah,
generally. And that's just mainly because I'm not in love with the shove buff. I don't think it really adds anything. I don't think bio explosion switch is so good though, and I take it because of that.
Mm.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I also don't think Controlled Chaos is particularly great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably his weakest talent tier is 20.
I don't know. I kind of like Controlled Chaos just because it gives you a huge amount of disengage. It's not so much for the attack; it's for the disengage at 20. Like if something goes wrong, you don't burn your entire ultimate. You burn a charge of it, and you get the max distance disengage for it. So you can reset the situation. You can get your bio kill switch off cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has a use, in my opinion.
Yeah, when you lay it out like that, just it's kind of like it becomes your oh shit button basically.
Yeah, I could be
like
swayed.
Okay, let's not do this now. We'll do it again later.
Yeah. Or you can keep somebody pinned up against something with it.
Yeah.
Now, bio explosion switch, it has its moments, right? Like you get your heals off, you throw your weight at pustules, suddenly you got them in that perfect thing, and you're ready to blow up your thing and blow everything up at once, and apply some more weight at pustules and silence them for 2 seconds. It definitely is meaningful. Tying everything into your trade is cool. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I take that, but yeah.
But yeah, that's our look at Stukov for this week. But look forward to us breaking down Garrosh in a few weeks, and We'll be talking about him and another new hero, I'm sure, around that point.
Yep, 4 to 6 weeks, baby.
We're kind of up for the next hero, and we should be hearing or getting teasers for him probably next week. So keep an eye out on the hero's social media there. And now to talk about something we know absolutely nothing about. Disclaimer, but Eastern Clash is this weekend. I don't think any of us have watched any of the Korean or Chinese HGC at all.
Tried to watch what I can.
Okay. So Zexus knows way more than me about my fan.
Well, sometimes their series are on at like 7 or 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning on Saturday and stuff, so you can catch those like occasionally.
Yeah. That's so right now MVP Black looks back to their old form. Because if we noticed, mid-season brawl didn't exactly go they wanted it to. They, if I remember correctly, they dropped Mary Day, or Mary Day retired or something.
Yeah,
and they brought on Rich, who I believe was on a previous form of MVP Black.
Yeah, because I remember him having like really insane thrall plays.
Yes, and he has a really insane Zeratul as well. So with that addition, MVP Black has run through the first half of the season undefeated. Okay,
7-0.
To give you an idea of how dominant they've been, their match score 21-3. They've only dropped 3 maps in that first half. That's insane.
It's over 7 series.
Yeah. So note, they have teams like L5 and Tempest in their group as well. So L5 coming in at number 2 in Korea, and Tempest coming in at number 3. E-Star from China tanked after the amazing show they had at the mid-season brawl. And Super Perfect Team, who everyone thought was going to make a run for the mid-season brawl title, they tanked at mid-season brawl. But now they're back to their old form, and their match record is even more insane. They're 11-0. Win-loss, 25-3.
Wait.
They have the type of round robin style where everybody plays each other twice. But 11-0 and 25-3, that's nuts.
So basically, what you're telling me is Sunday at 1 a.m. I should try to watch, because it'll likely be MVP Black versus Super Perfect Team in winners finals.
No.
At 1 in the morning.
No. I think CE is going to be in winners finals. And they're the number 2 team in China right now. So they did a major reshuffle after mid-season brawl. And it's, if I remember correctly, I know they had some troubles internally with team comp, and they switched something up. But whatever it was they did, it's paid off really well for them. They're second place behind Super Perfect Team. They're coming in really strong right now. I think they're riding a pretty good streak. Let me double check this. China Clash. Yeah, they're 30. They don't give standings like how like NA had, streaks and stuff like that. They don't have it for China, but 22-6 is nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's really good.
Wait, hey, hold on. E-Star Gaming is there, and have apparently gone stupid.
Yeah, E-Star is snuck in at the 3rd spot there for China, but not really snuck in, because
I don't see them on the. I don't see them on here.
Oh, I don't either. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably if I had to. No, isn't this in? No, it's in Taiwan. So maybe visa issues.
Yeah, because Star is not in, but TFC. I don't know where these guys are from.
Those are different regions, right?
Deadly Kittens is a Taiwanese team.
Yeah, and so are Soul Torturers,
yes.
which was 3/5 of Please Buff Arthas, so I have to cheer for them.
TFC, I don't know about.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know anything, but it's a Chinese team.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a Taiwanese team. So,
okay, TFC played in the Eastern Clash. They lost to E-Star Gaming 2-0 and lost to SPT Super Perfect Team 2-0. So they must be a minor region team.
They have to be, and that's probably the reason why. It had to have been a visa issue or something.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Because that doesn't make any sense why TFC would be there and E-Star is not when it's listed on the website that E-Star is at Clash. Yeah. So,
anyways,
that's sad for E-Star because they're an entertaining team.
They are, but
the no tank strat.
If I had to guess, I'd say MVP Black gonna win this tournament. Although they are going up against, I feel like the hometown favorites, Deadly Kittens. I remember watching them play, I want to say 5-6 months ago.
At Mid-Season Brawl, and they got rolled by everybody?
Well, not Mid-Season Brawl, but there was a Taiwanese tournament for Taiwan HEC, I guess. But yeah, let's see. Mid-Season Brawl, they went 1-1 against Nomiya. 1-1 against SPT, Nomiya. 1-1 against SPT, and then got 2-0'd by MVP Black.
Yeah.
So they did okay.
2-4 is not okay.
They tied 2 series and lost 1. It's better than It's okay.
So they won 1 minor region. What did they? Who was the other team they won 1?
SPT.
So they won a team that was clearly crapping the bed.
This is theoretical because there's no way you've watched any of these matches. Right?
How do you know?
You have not watched 3 in the morning minor team region matches.
How do you know I've not watched the VODs?
He's talking about me, I think. But anyways, MVP Black's gonna take it. That's all that matters.
I think a Chinese team takes it. I think either CT or SPT ends up running away with it. I would have said E-Star, but
they're not gonna be there.
Nope.
But yeah,
so
check out Eastern Clash this weekend at the middle of the night if you want to watch it for you US based folks. EU time's probably a little bit better, but yeah. Eastern Clash should be fun.
Just to spite Charlie now.
I'll catch games here and there, I'm sure. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for episode 113 of the Heroes Power Hour. Before we go, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/BlizzPro. All the archived episodes show up there. If you're listening on iTunes, go ahead and throw us a review. 5-star reviews help us out a ton. Check out patreon.com/heroespower if you would like to help us out monetarily and check out those goals that we have and all the rewards we have. We'll cast your game. We'll review your games. We'll
send you a t-shirt.
Send you a t-shirt. There you go. But yeah, check that out. And once again, patreon.com/heroespower. As always, check us out on heroesofthestorm.blizzpro.com. All the latest news for Heroes of the Storm goes up very quickly due to the robot of Alebeard. It does a great job, so check that out as well as discord.com or discord.blizzpro.com. We talk all about everything Blizzard related in there throughout the week. And all the other great BlizzPro shows are up on youtube.com/BlizzPro. Check this out. Westmarch Workshop for Diablo 3, Payload Podcast for Overwatch, Well Met for Hearthstone, and Arcane Analysis for World of Warcraft. This has been episode 113. Before we go, though, any closing thoughts? Balrog fan.
Needs more testing, but I think Garrosh might be the best hero in the game right now.
Well, there you go. Zex, how about you, my friend?
Team Freedom sucks. Team Freedom sucks. I've been
Oh
playing
my
the song
gosh.
in my head for like the past 15 minutes. I'm just still so incredibly mad at them. No, I agree with Charlie. Garrosh, probably the best warrior in the game. Repositioning is amazing. Being able to chuck heroes over walls that aren't paying attention is even better. And you don't even have to be at the wall. They just have to be in range of your breaker. And you pull them in, throw them over, and they're dead. It's a lot of fun. Try it, everyone.
And there you have it. This has been episode 113 of the Heroes Power. Check me out at DJ Tyrant there. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter. And we shall all see you next week. And in the Nexus, make sure to stay tight. And we'll see you soon. Bye.